What's up, guys? Today we are talking about my experience moving to Breckenridge and Summit County, Colorado. If you don't know who I am, my name is Anthony. I am a local real estate agent here in Breckenridge, and it's quite a weird story about how I ended up moving out here, and it's been a little bit of an adjustment, but overall I love it, and I think it's one of the best places to live in the country, or the best place to vacation to if you live somewhere else full-time. So let's get right into it. Real quick, before we get into the video, do any of you guys live here in Summit County, Colorado? What has your experience been like living here? Are you from here originally and this is kind of what you're used to, or are you from a big city or small suburban town or rural town and you kind of just got lucky to move out here? I want to know, what was your experience like and what has it been like living here in Breckenridge? So I come from upstate New York originally, just about 45 minutes to an hour and a half to the city, depending on traffic that day. Going from there to here was kind of a funny story. My fiance and I were thinking about moving somewhere else out of New York, which is a whole nother story, but we were looking at potentially California. She was moving her best friend out there and quickly realized as she was driving along I-70 and stopped to see the mountains in Colorado that this is where she wanted to live. I myself never had any experience with Breckenridge or knew anything about Summit County, and she was like, oh, you're gonna love it. Skiing out there, beautiful Rocky Mountain views, you know, you live in the country already. This would be an easy switch up for you. Before I had met her, I actually never grew up skiing. She taught me how to ski when I met her, and this was part of the reason why we decided we were going to basically take a break from life and move out to Breckenridge. Around the same time, she was doing real estate as a real estate agent back in New York, and we were looking at potentially buying an investment property. Well, it turns out that condos out here in Breckenridge were about the same price that we would pay for the single family home that we wanted back in New York, except the potential for rental revenue was much greater because of Airbnb and the tourism that drives our economy. So we ended up buying a condo in Breckenridge over FaceTime, if you could believe that. We lived in that condo for about a year, put it on Airbnb, and that first month we cash flowed almost $5,000, and it completely changed our lives. Now, the saying goes, move for the skiing and stay for the summer. Growing up in New York, I actually hated the winter, like despised it actually. My experience moving out here completely revolutionized winter for me. I experienced my first dry winter, which was a complete game changer, especially here in Colorado where we average about 300 days of sunshine a year. We get light, fluffy, dry snow, and then after it snows, it's sunny outside. So you couple that with the dryness, it could be 30 degrees outside, and like today, I was walking around in a t-shirt. We actually get snow, like the East Coast where it seems like snow is a myth at this point. We actually have snow so we can go out and enjoy our lives. We can go skiing, we can go snowshoeing, we can go snowmobiling, fat biking. I mean, you name it. There's just so many things to do. A lot of the friends that we had made along the way who had spent a number of years here encouraged us to stay for the summertime because they say the summer is even better. The summer here is incredible. We get 75-degree days, most days, sun is shining. It's perfect for outdoor activities. Again, it's very dry, so you're not going out into the humid weather and sweating your nuts off. It's like the best summer that you can imagine. Okay, so that's pretty much the story about how I ended up out here. Sorry to ramble on you guys, but there was a lot to the story, and I thought it might be informative for you to know how I ended up here. So what has my experience been like living here in Breckenridge and Summit County? I'd say number one thing is outdoor activities. I love the outdoor activity and the outdoor community here. Generally speaking, most people are into some kind of outdoor activity, and it's primarily the reason they move here. Usually it's skiing, but it can be a number of other things from hiking to bird watching to off-roading, fishing. I mean, you name it, you can literally do it out here. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, you're going to love that. And it was, again, something I had to adjust to because back in New York, a lot of people back there kind of just couch potatoes and they don't really get out and do stuff very often, which is fine if that's what you're into, and you can certainly make that work here. But just know that a lot of people out here are very outdoor minded, so you're gonna make a lot of friends who just love to go on hikes on the weekend or go rafting or take a couple laps at Breckenridge or whatever. So that is something that I had to adjust to, but I absolutely love about living out here. Plus it has helped my overall health. I feel my cardiovascular health, my breathing has been a lot better since I've moved out here because of all that outdoor activity. The next thing I had to adjust to was tourism. I know what you're thinking, Anthony, you're from New York. That's like the busiest, most tourist infested place in the world. Yes, I am from New York, but again, I was 45 minutes northwest of the city in a small little town with about 3,000 total population. I was on a lake, so in the summertime we did get a lot of city goers coming up to the lake. So in the summertime it did get pretty busy, but not nearly as busy as it gets here. The tourism here is what drives our economy, so we get millions of tourists every year, and it's something that you'll have to adjust to, especially in the winter season that could last anywhere from 7 to even 10 months. We get some treacherous road conditions, a lot of people in rental cars who aren't used to these roads or these driving conditions, and it can get pretty hairy. So tourism, if you're not used to it, get used to it being out here. It's pretty much busy year round. We do get an off season, kind of, not even really anymore, but we call it our mud season. Basically at the tail end of April all the way up until June, there's nothing really going on here. The snow is very hit or miss. Usually it's miss, so it starts warming up into the 40s, 50s. The ski resorts aren't really open anymore. It kind of gets muddy, the trails aren't that usable, and you have a similar situation in the middle of October all the way up till about December. Summit County really isn't a secret anymore. Basically busy all year round, so get used to tourism if you're not used to it. This one is a big one, and it still affects me to this day because I am by no means incredibly wealthy, but the cost of living out here is expensive. The median home price is a little over $1 million. We're by no means struggling, but day to day, it's not the cheapest place to live. Your average lunch in the county is going to be anywhere from $15 to $25, usually on the higher end, especially if you're on the ski resorts. The ski resort lunches are $30 for a burger and fries and a drink. And then other things too, if you don't buy a house, rent out here, a typical one bedroom is going to run you from $1,500 to $2,000 on the low end, all the way up to $4,000 or $5,000 per month. Yes, you heard me right, per month. So you're dealing with almost New York City or LA prices here, which kind of sucks. But again, cost of living, it's just super high out here. And then, you know, all the outdoor activities, it feels like every week, especially if you're new here, you're going to find out from a friend or a new acquaintance or whatever about some new outdoor activity that you just haven't done yet. And that's what happened when we moved out here. First it was skiing, then it was mountain biking, then it was rafting, then it was off-roading, then it was snowmobiling. It was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things to do. So the cost of all those activities can get pretty out of hands. And then couple that with the average home price, and then plus the cost of groceries, insurance, all these different things, basically make Summit County a pretty dang expensive place. So get ready for that if you plan to move here. All right, this one I love, and it's the community out here in Summit County. I'm, again, from New York, and a lot of that city culture kind of leached its way into the countryside. It would be pretty typical to kind of walk by somebody without ever acknowledging them or talking to that person, and, you know, altercations happened a lot, more vocal than they were physical, just because people are so short-tempered. They're in a rush to get somewhere, especially when you have that many people in that tight of an area, about 100 square miles from the city all the way out to where I was. People become a nuisance, and you kind of forget about the value of your fellow person. Where here, you don't get that at all. We have a great sense of community, and actually, funny story, the first time that we came out here, we were walking down Main Street to kind of do a little shopping, and someone random who we'd never met before just stopped us to say hello and asked how we're doing and how our day was going. And me and my fiance Stephanie kind of looked at each other like, what the heck is this guy messing with us? And sure as hell, he was not messing with us. He actually just wanted to genuinely know how we were doing. And you'll get that sense of community all over Summit County, which is very warm and inviting. Again, something I had to adjust to, but now that I live here, I absolutely love it. It's made me friendlier and more patient myself. So I'm always stopping people on the street, smiling, saying hi, even at the local rec center, local bar, on the mountain. I'll hop on the singles chair line and just say hi to people. And then on top of that, you know, because we're such a huge tourist community, all these people are on vacation, so generally they're pretty happy. They got the Rocky Mountains, they're skiing, they're having a good time. So you'll notice that people are generally pretty happy here compared to most big cities or maybe wherever you're from. Another thing that I've had to get used to, and it just happens to go along with our friendly, laid-back lifestyle, is that we're on island time up in the mountains. So I don't know what you want to call it mountain time, call it whatever, but things just kind of move slower here, at least compared to what I grew up in New York. Again, my parents were from the city, so they instilled in me a pretty hard work ethic, and when things need to get done, it's like, get up, get it done, and let's do it. You know, don't waste time. Here, doesn't always happen like that. Good contractors can be a little tougher to find because we're up in the mountains and we don't have access to as many resources. And then people just generally take life slower here, man. They're here to live life, enjoy life, be outside. It's not about living to work, it's about working to live. So people do work hard out here, but they're more focused on quality of life instead of being a super successful entrepreneur or trying to be a millionaire or grow a big business. Like, that just doesn't exist here. So if you want something like that, you know, maybe go down to Denver, maybe stay in your big city if you're a really driven entrepreneur and you want tons of opportunities. Here, it's just not like that. I'd say, ironically though, I do get a lot of opportunity being 28 years old and driven in this community. It's pretty easy for me to just go out and talk to people and create business for myself being a salesperson here. So, but just know that it's not fast-paced lifestyle. It's laid back, everybody's chilling. So it's something I had to adjust to when I got out here, but I think it's helped me, my overall health. I'm not as stressed, I'm not as worried about keeping up with the Joneses and things of that nature. I just kind of work to make the money that will allow me to live my life and enjoy it with my friends and community out here. So, and that means being outside, skiing, snowmobiling, hiking, whatever, because to me, and what I found from living out here, is the ultimate joy in life. As you've heard me ramble a ton about my experience living here in Breckenridge, and hopefully that gives you some insight on what it's like to move here to Summit County or to buy a vacation home. So I want to know, what surprised you guys the most about living out here in Summit County? I think the biggest surprise to me was the cost of living out here. You know, being an hour from Denver, I figure we're up in the mountains, we're far away from the city, the cost of living can't be that high, but because of the tourism and the limited supply of homes out here and the 5 major ski resorts that we have within a 20-minute drive, it draws a lot of people from around the world. And then after the pandemic and a lot of people moving out of big cities to come here, the cost of living has just gotten pretty crazy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys are ready to make that move out here, call this number right here on the screen and you'll talk right to me. That is my direct cell line, so you will speak directly with me. And if you don't want to move here, then whatever, man, more for me, I don't care. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.